Hello, this is the 6th session for this lecture, and in this session we are going to talk about sharing experiences, strengths, and limits. Korea's own experience tells the importance of the knowledge and right policy making, rather than a simplistic budget support. The argument of this session is based on the misadventure of Korean aid, developmental soft power, and the troubling motives of an emerging donor, which is an article by Kim Suwon, published in Third World Quarterly. This is a photo titled Men Carrying Water Buckets on Frame. This photo is taken by American photographer William Hansen in 1952. This man is in Seoul. Here, these are a group of Korean men about 70 years later. How could they change in such a dramatic fashion? Improved makeup skills and coloring of hair is in short of explaining the transition. To understand this transition, we need to see the changes that have happened in Korea in between the 1950s and now, such as general national education, changes in dietary, the process of democratization, the presence of military censoring in cultural production, and lifting of it. Even the changes in the perception of gender roles, globalization, digitalization, and so on. In an article titled Marketing Japan, Japanese Cultural Presence Under a Global Gaze, Koichi Iwabuchi introduces a concept of cultural odorless, a term he used to describe the consumption of Japanese animation and games in Asia. Iwabuchi alluded to the practice of intentionally erasing the cultural characteristics of Japan in product design and marketing in order to support and enhance the export of its cultural products. Similar irony can be found in Korea's knowledge sharing. The Korea model is based on its outstanding experiences of economic development, which transformed the Asia's second poorest country next to Bangladesh to the world's 10th largest economy, with the 18th highest GDP per capita. Hence, the Korean government has long considered its experiences as its comparative advantage as a donor country. First, the Nomuhyun administration introduced Korea's development model as one of its core strategic principles in the General Plan for Improving International Development Cooperation in 2005. The following Lee Myung-bak government accelerated the move by forming a task force team on the Special Presidential Order. And 3 major government think tanks participated in the project to draw up the Korea model in 2012. The Korea model is based on a knowledge-based development cooperation project, which offers policy recommendations tailored to partner countries based on Korea's experience and knowledge from its economic development. The policy-oriented research, training, consultation, and recommendation program is given upon a voluntary request of partner countries. This technocratic-oriented program aims to achieve aid effectiveness via voluntary integration of Korea's knowledge with the local development efforts. Although the name of knowledge-sharing modularization has changed to context studies, the core process remains similar. In the belief that knowledge, not the financial capital, is pivotal to economic development, the core of the program lies in sharing the Korean module with partner countries. Under the veneer of development cooperation, the program reveals a number of soft power elements. First, the program is given upon partners' voluntary recognition of Korea's economic achievement and outstanding knowledge. Nye, who coined the term soft power, notes that voluntarism is one of the two main characteristics of soft power, together with indirection. In contrast to hard power, which means a capacity to force a country to do what otherwise it would not do by using military or economic reserves, soft power is based on willingness by choice. Second, the institutional structure of the Korean government indicates the government's soft power framework. When the Lee Myung-bak administration launched the Presidential Council on Nation Branding to boost Korea's soft power, the knowledge-sharing program was listed as one of the top 10 priorities of the Council. Finally, the program found its audience not only abroad, but also at home, reflecting dualism in soft power. The ultimate audience that the government targets is the voters in a country who'd become esteemed by the greater soft power abroad. However, there is an irony of Korean model being a source of soft power. Korea model is based on Korea's experience of economic growth. And soft power is based on charm. Korea's economic growth, however, is not necessarily charming. A critical part of its economic development took place under the authoritarian rules, conjoined in the geopolitical structure of the Cold War. The anti-communist authoritarian regimes, which led a state-central economic growth in Korea, oppressed freedom of speech and labor rights. And the authoritarian regimes tortured and massacred citizens who called for democracy. The existence of North Korea as a threat to the survival of South Korea was frequently used to oppress the call for more liberal society in the name of stability, which was claimed as a precondition to economic development by those governments. The outstanding economic growth of Korea cannot be explained detached from such international and local political context. Nevertheless, the Korean model zooms in technicality and policies. It is a technique-oriented solution, sometimes with added emphasis on a can-do spirit of individuals. Hence, the Korean model is a politically orderless model, which is drawn on deliberate effort by the government to soften the authoritarian association of Korea's development history. Korea's position as an emerging conformist donor has shaped the path of Korea model. The path had a good number of mishaps and fixes in a relatively short period of time. And the current trend of Korea's official development assistance can be described as primarily demand-driven programs with an emphasis on local ownership. The programs involve sharing knowledge embedded in its own experience of economic growth and distinguish Korea not only from the maverick emerging donors such as China, but also from the Western traditional donors with historical burden. Taking a risk of the Korean Development Cooperation model becoming a nationalist celebration, an overly culturalist understanding of the complex national development. This aspiring emerging donor, Korea, has continued institutional efforts to modularize its experience as a replicable lesson for other developing countries. Summing up, Korea's experience of economic growth is indeed outstanding. There is a truth that there are a lot to learn from the technicality and policies that Korea implemented. The sharing of Korea's experience as a tool of contributive diplomacy can be more effective when its local and international political context is provided, together with the technique-oriented contribution. Thank you.